Hello and welcome to the FieldCraft server. My name is Weird and Bearded, and in today's episode we are going to be doing something. I don't actually know what we're going to be doing yet. I am still trying to decide. There are a couple of main options that we can be working on. On the one hand, it would be nice to get a villager breeder going, because then we can get into villager trading. We can get an iron farm going, which is going to be incredibly useful. I have had to mine for so much iron for the past few episodes. On the other hand, having a wither rose farm would also be very useful, because then I can use all of the wither roses to help make a wither skeleton farm. Then we can get even more withers and get more beacons, which is going to help for some of the larger digging projects. So I really need to decide what we're going to do today, and I think we are going to go over in this direction and do some area preparation, and you will find out what for shortly. So as you may have guessed, we are in the overworld. We are going to be working on the villager breeder really close to the base. My plan is to turn most of this mountain into a villager area, all within the mountain. I have a lot of plans for villagers for this series. But we need to start off with the villager breeder. I have dug this area out. I've actually dug it out a bit further than I showed in the time lapse, because I now know how big I actually need it. So this is going to be quite technical, more technical than I was initially expecting, certainly. But first of all, I need to get in all of the non-technical stuff. So basically I need to build the breeder itself. I think this place is looking absolutely lovely. We have a nice open sky for them. We can't actually have it open because I don't want them jumping at all and just destroying the land. We have some beds for them to sleep in. We've got their job blocks. We have a nice big area for them to farm. Slightly bigger than one water source can deal with. I actually have some hidden water sources, just like that, and same in all of the other corners. And the way this works, the villagers will slowly spread the carrots across the farm. I've given them just one to start with because I quite enjoy seeing how it spreads. Then they will start throwing carrots to each other. They will start making baby villagers. The baby villagers will run around and will be able to fall down these holes, which I can sometimes. Come on. I'll go for this one. This one can be a bit easier because I can go from the outside. There we go. So I'll fall down here into this little chamber, which will push them down into this hole. They are small enough that they'll go straight through the water and wait here. And then once they grow up, their heads will be in the water and they will start swimming and go into my villager collection chamber. They will not be able to break out as easily as I will. I need to set up a little system to get them out. That will be done at a later date. But now we need to go into how technical turning this off and on is going to be. Because when it's turned off, what it means is the villagers should not be allowed to access their crops. So this line of blocks will get pushed down. We have some pistons up at the top, like so. Unfortunately, if I just push them down whenever I turn the farm off, if the villagers are already in the farm, they're going to continue farming and continue breeding. You haven't actually turned it off. You have to wait for them to be at their beds. So the way I've done this in the past is I've had a lever and I've made sure it was night when I pulled the lever. Which just seems ridiculous. We can make it far more complicated than that. So we're going to introduce a system. We're going to get the light level from outside, and when you pull the lever, it won't turn off until it is night time. We also need to make sure sometimes it can turn itself off. So when the villagers get down there, we don't want the villagers to just start dying in their little chamber. And with entity cramming, once there are 24 in there, they will start dying. So we need to count how many villagers are going through and how many villagers are being taken out. And if there are too many villagers in there, we also need this thing to turn off. So there's a few technical bits which I need to wire up. And I'm going to start off with the daylight detector. Now, to make a wither rose farm, of course, how do you get wither roses? They are not a common item. A lot of people don't bother using them because they're a bit of a pain to get. A wither rose only drops when a wither kills another mob. I've got a few because of my wither fight earlier on in the series where I spawned a wither over the ocean and things went really badly for me. So I clearly have a great track record with withers. That's why I'm currently here at the Nether Fortress. I need to collect some wither skeleton skulls because we need to spawn one more wither. Hopefully this is going to be the last time I'm here collecting wither skeleton skulls like this, because once we've got the wither rose farm going, that's a major resource that I need to make a wither skeleton farm. Because we are going to be killing more withers in the future, I want lots of beacons. Now, I did say earlier on that I would try to build all of the farms by my own design. That's a little more difficult in this case. Withers, you need to keep them contained for a wither rose farm to work. There are various wither cages out there. I've seen people do stuff with balancing boats on the wither. I think that was Raiseworks. But I haven't figured that stuff out for myself yet. So I'm sticking with the standard of trapping the wither in bedrock, like they have with the end gates, like they have underneath the end portal back to the overworld, and like they have on the roof of the Nether. We're going with end gates out in the outer end islands, as you saw in the earlier time lapse. It is covered with water because we're going to be using Enderman, because there's very little else that spawns in the end. It's Enderman. Shulkers don't spawn there, they're just already there, same with the dragon. We're not going to be using either of those, so we're going to be building a fairly standard Enderman-based wither rose farm. But now that that's all collected, we end up back here at the end island, which I've covered with water so that the Enderman will not spawn. I have also placed in a couple of spawning spheres. I can spawn those in now. So that blue sphere is where I'm going to be standing. I'll be in the middle of that. Nothing will be able to spawn in there because I will be too close. Anything beyond this red sphere will be too far away from me. So you can even see sort of over there, if I turn it off, that little island has been cut off slightly, just to make sure nothing actually spawns there. I've also just entirely got rid of a couple of small ones. It is centered around this block, which has no water because magic. But also because Minecraft water mechanics are weird. But yeah, we have nothing here. This is where we are centering everything. I need to go and gather a load of resources. We have the daylight detector in place. with nice open sky access. I kind of tucked it away slightly, partly to hide it from view and partly I can get some redstone immediately underneath this snow and all looks nice and neat. So inside, if we go up the ladder, we can see some redstone has been added to proceedings. So the signal from the daylight detector comes down here and gets inverted because we only want it to turn on at night. It will then push this redstone block across, and this is just a regular piston, not a sticky piston. But once it becomes daytime again, the block won't move. It will only move when we turn the system back on. So when it's off, this can be pushed across. How do we stop it when we want the system to remain on? I'm going to remove this block. So that is going to be the next system. We're going to get a lever in place and do that. It is now nighttime, as you can see by the fact that this signal isn't on and this torch is. However, we currently have the farm switched on with our brand new lever over here. But while it is nighttime, it means that we can turn the farm off and on at a whim. If I were to now sleep and make it daytime, theoretically, assuming everything's worked, I can pull this lever as much as I want and nothing is happening here. So that all works. The next thing we have to do, and really the last thing we have to do before getting the villagers in, is hook up a counter down there so that whenever a baby villager falls through, it counts up how many villagers have gone through, and if it goes over a certain threshold, the system turns off. I've added another little area to the circuitry, and you can see just how close we are to the outside. That is one of the snow blocks, and we have two droppers facing into each other, one filled with 15 items. I feel like 15 is a good number. It takes 24 entities for them to start taking damage. There's a chance we'll have a couple of baby villagers in there, so I figured let's stick with 15. I don't yet have a circuit to refill everything because currently I don't have a way to get the adult villagers out. That is something I'm going to be working on in the future. But for now, this is working. So if I take this piece of stone and drop it down one of the holes, when I climb back up, we will see that there is no longer 15 items in that dropper. There is now 14 and 1 on top. Nice and simple. We have a little bit of redstone spiraling down to the drop shaft where I have a tripwire. So I suppose now I've just got to get some villagers up here and block the front up with glass. This is going to be fun. The structure has been built. We have a nice big spawning platform for the Endermen, as you can see. They're all gathered round. Up top, if I look up carefully and don't look an Enderman in the eye, we have the AFK point, and right at the bottom, which you can't see from here because there's a platform in the way, we have our storage system, which I need to put together. But first of all, we have the Enderman on the spawning platform, but we need to get them down that hole where that Enderman just fell. Apparently, I can just leave them to fall, but I'd like to get them down there a little faster, so this drop will take them down to just a few hit points, make it easier for the Wither to kill them. They are falling down remarkably quickly, considering I have not done anything yet. We are going to make them angry. Not by looking at them. We are going to spawn in their natural enemies. I've gone up 3 blocks. I think I want to go up another 2. Then we'll get a block in place. I'm going to make myself a little staircase up to this point. Hello. Just don't look them in the eye. They're very shy creatures. And I will put an end rod. Oh, I nearly looked a few of them in the eye there. Put an end rod underneath there. And then we're going to build up this little chamber. Just using stone as a temporary block. This will all be taken down. I need to put a ladder down and a couple of rails. And now, I'm going to spawn in an endermite. Endermen hate endermites. They will always go for the attack, so we're going to get an endermite balanced on that end rod. The enderman will see it, go to attack, and won't be able to reach it, simply fall down the hole. So I need to do some ender pearling. Okay, the endermite is in place. So now let's try to get it into a minecart. I am going to take off my armor because I've got thorns on and I don't want to damage it. I also don't want it to damage me. It is in the minecart. I am nearly out of food. That hurts a lot. So it needs to be over the other spot. So let's remove this ladder. Put that on the other side. I then need to push the minecart across. I want to do all this before I make the endermite permanent. Good, 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 good. And then we will name you. Well, can we not name it when it's not in the... I think we can't name it when it's in the minecart. I need to get it out of the minecart, name it, put it... Well, I need to do this again. We'll bring you back once it's done. That seemed to work significantly better. But now there's nothing down at the bottom to kill the enderman, so we can't really see them spawning in. But if I fly directly upwards, we should unload the ones at the bottom. And you see more spawn in and rush straight down the hole. This is working fabulously. So next I want to get in my storage system, and then we're going to be spawning in the wither. We have a simple storage system in place. On the one side, we have the area where all of the wither roses are going to go, and then we may as well store a load of ender pearls on the other. Any excess is going to be disposed of into lava. Gotta get the wither in now. This is the thing that could go wrong the most. Oh no. But ignore all the angry endermen. This is what we're going to be using for the wither cage. Unfortunately, there is a portal in the middle, so if we put a wither in there, it's just going to teleport away. This is where my mushroom that is magical comes into play. I have a place to plant it. I have a block above to give it only a very specific growth height. It cannot grow taller than that. And in theory, when I do, it has grown into the portal and removed the portal block. All of the bedrock stays. I now need to take all of this down, and then the actual wither can get into place. The mushroom is gone. We have an empty end gateway. I really hope this works. I basically need to get the wither made and then get out of the way as quickly as I can. So we're going to place the first block in underneath, and we're going to have a brick wall just underneath that, which is going to hold the wither up. And then we're going to build our wither sideways. No, not like that. Like that. I know what I'm doing. Ready? The wither is in place. Hopefully the explosion doesn't break anything. Let's get right to the top, I suppose. So now the Endermen in there should be dying, which we can see they are because more Endermen are spawning in. It's difficult to tell if this is working without taking a closer look, so I'm going to get in my spectator account, I think. There's little old me at my AFK spot. There we have the Endermen spawning in, falling down the hole, and as we move further down, there is our wither. Just every now and then, getting some more Endermen, and then if I go further still, we have, yes, we have wither roses coming in. We probably have a lot of ender pearls coming in as well. This is all fully working and very loud. I've probably turned that down in the edit. But that is a working wither rose farm. And working pretty well. I might stay here for an hour and we'll see how many drops I get. An hour has passed of me watching these Endermen swarm like ants. Time to head down and hopefully not die in the fall because I have already died doing this. I need to make this a bit safer. I'm not confident. I'm going to the side. Okay, let's see how many drops I got. I don't care too much about the ender pearls. That is fantastic. Almost 10 stacks of wither roses in an hour. I suppose 9 stacks of wither roses. There are already 40 in there. But even so, 9 stacks an hour is great. So this is done. I can now tick this off of my board. As I look at my board of farms, I notice I don't have wither roses on here. I also don't have honey bottles, or honeycomb, or glowberries, or glow lichen. If I can find 2 more things I don't have, I can just add another row at the top. But we're not turning any lights on here today. So that is the wither rose farm completed. So we can take that off and we'll get to the villager breeder on a later date. The field is full of carrots. The villagers are busy working away and they have been breeding if we head downstairs. It does look like there is just 1 villager in here, but I have been assured by my redstone that there is more. I don't actually remember how many more. Let's go and have a look. I should remember, I only checked it a few minutes ago. But we have 3 villagers in there. So I might wait here and just leave them to it for a bit. But as far as I'm concerned, the villager breeder is complete. Apart from, you know, making this bit look good. But that's for later. That's a later problem. And that is the villager breeder all working nicely. We can get to the... Wait, where's the wither rose that was here?